Up, we're live. The intro didn't
Oh,
go on.
oh, awesome. All right. Well, hey,
Right.
welcome to our little pregame for game 3 of the Subway Series between the Yankees and the Mets. Got Rob, of course, myself, and we got our special guest, Mr. Donald Stewart from the Pinstripe
Yes.
Chronicles, my favorite crew, favorite Yankee crew. What's going on, Donald?
What's up, man? I appreciate the kind words. I'm really excited to join you guys. This is my first time on your show. So, absolutely an honor to be on with you guys. And
Cool,
Chris,
man.
it's all love, brother.
Hey, it's an honor to have you on, man. I know I've been on with you a couple of times and, talking a little bit. Listen, talking Yankee baseball, always fun to do. And you're one of the best to do it with. So I'm down. So Rob, what do you think, man? Now you're surrounded by a couple of Yankee fans. Now you know how I feel usually on this show when Met fans come on. So
Hey,
hit us with the questions now.
yeah, no, it's all good, and I'm glad at least that it's both the Mets and Yankees won a game, so tonight's the rubber match, which I'm happy about. At least you guys didn't win the first 2 games, and I would be sitting here worrying about a sweep. So everything's good right now in both Met and Yankee land.
Rob, I've got a question for you. As a Met fan, how do you feel about the Yankee fans' reaction towards Juan Soto? Because I'm sure that's going to be kind of a contestable issue. So I just want to ask a Met fan, what did you think of the Yankee fans' reaction? Did it? I can't imagine you have the highest ratings of towards Yankee fans, but did it raise it or did it lower it even further?
You know what? It didn't raise it or lower it because I knew it was going to happen. Everybody knew it was going to happen, and I'm just I'm used to it. So nothing changed. I still have the same feelings about Yankee fans. I mean, I like Chris, but
not good.
But listen. So we knew what was going to happen with Soto. It's been all over social media. Yankee fans have been crying about it, and here's my take with it. Okay. You knew basically that there was a chance he was just going to be a 1-year rental. And, everyone knew that. No one knew where he was going to sign, but, we figured he'd go for the most money. He had a great year for you guys. Brings you guys to, the World Series. Does great in the World Series. And, he went for the money and the perks that the Mets offered him. And I could see if he was a Yankee for 3, 4, 5 years, then you feel hurt. But 1 year, they're just going crazy. Chris has handled it great, really. He says he's done with them, but he's not going on and on and on.
He's dead to me. I've said that a million times. He's dead to me. I don't care. Like, I'm done. But it's like, listen, if it was the other way around, Rob, the Met fans would do the same thing to him.
Yeah.
That the Yankees are doing. And it's, listen, that is what it is. I love that, the bleacher creatures turned their backs to him when he came out to play right field.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that because I looked on X and my co-host Rob thought it was really corny. What did you think of it?
Chris loved it.
Yeah. What's up, Lynn?
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, Lynn. Thanks for coming on.
What up, Lynn?
Hey. Sorry I'm a little bit late.
It's all right. Better late than never.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
that's
me.
me. So, all right, Chris. So what were you saying about Soto?
No, I said it. I love that they turned their back on him. I wish the whole stadium did that to him. That would have been perfect. But obviously, we're not going to get that. But you had to expect the booing, right? I don't think anything was shocking, and he expected it. So, and like I said, if it was the other way around, you guys would have gave it to him because not only did he leave your team, but he left you for the Yankees, just like us. We said it enough, right? If the money's close, I thought he'd stay with the Yankees, but the money really wasn't that close, right? With all the bonus crap that he got from the Mets that he wasn't getting from the Yankees. So, you know what? You can't blame the guy. He went for the most money. That's what we thought he'd do. Not everybody's like Judge. Judge came back to us
You're
for
right.
for a lot less money, right? Than he was offered by San Diego or San Fran, whoever it was. So
here's where I'm at with it. I actually kind of agree with you. I actually don't mind the whole turning your back thing. I actually thought that was kind of creative because he essentially turned his back on the Yankees, right? And so the fans turned their back on him.
there you go.
I mean, I don't hate that. I think that I think there's a lot worse ways that you can treat someone. So, I mean, the booing was expected. Now, personally, if I was in the stands, would I boo him? No, not at all, because I'm actually a big Soto fan. I'm still a Soto fan, and I really wish him well. I hope he doesn't win anything, but I wish him well, and I hope he performs well, certainly, because I don't wish ill on the guy. Because as Rob points out, he never once lied to us. He always said he was going to be here for a good time, not a long time. As soon as that final out was in the World Series, his hat changed from a Yankee hat to a Boris hat in a second. Right?
It did.
That's who he is.
Right.
He was sitting in the dugout, right? And he turned it back.
Right. And then to your point, Chris, not everyone's Aaron Judge, right? Yeah. And by the way, Aaron Judge turned his back to Soto as well. Did you guys see when Soto was running to the outfield?
Yeah.
Judge was right.
That was before the game.
That was cool. That's the kind of stuff that speaks volumes, right? That speaks louder. Not the fans, but Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge didn't do anything. He just didn't really pay any attention to him. That's awesome. But
yeah, it was. It was awesome.
I don't hate the guy. I think he's an amazing player, and I wish him well. And I thank him because, by the way, there was not a hope in hell that the Yankees make the World Series without him. Not a hope in hell. He was the reason why they made the postseason / World Series. Him and Giancarlo Stanton in many ways. So I'm not going to hate.
That's what I was waiting for.
Of course, I'm not going to hate on Soto. But yeah, I actually quite liked the fans' reaction. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah. What would you think, Lynn? Well, what did you think about the whole reaction and all that?
I was actually one of the people tweeting about, hey, don't be like that. Just how about everyone turn your backs on him when he comes to the outfield or comes to the plate? I was like so shocked glad to see it. And I wasn't the only one. So I'm glad that took hold. I'm also glad I didn't see a tribute video because I was so against and I know the guys had mixed feelings. Donald, I watched, I was on for a bit when you guys did your show on Friday. I was like, come on, the guy is alive and getting richer by the second. Like, where's Bernie Williams tribute video? Where,
right.
And so, no, I was just somebody in the home office said, oh, this isn't going to bode well for us if it was
home office.
I don't know, whoever's thing it was, front office. Home office. I'm thinking about my job. Yeah. I feel like working for this team. I am working for this team, but I just figured they knew that it was just not going to be a good look. And listen, Soto, I didn't see much of a wiggle at the plate, so he toned his mojo down at the plate. Do you guys see any of the setup stuff? The Soto shuffle at the plate?
Shuffle. No,
I thought that was kind of odd, But he
that only comes when he's locked in. You'll see it when he's locked in. When he's locked in, be afraid. As soon as you see that shuffle, be afraid. Be very, very afraid because that ball's leaving the yard.
Why do you think, Donald or Lynn? Why do you guys think he's not locked in? Because I've watched him now. Like there is something missing about him. I think locked in. That's a good word for it. It doesn't seem like he's locked in. Why do you think he's not? This series, I thought he's going to hit a big home run. I thought something big was going to happen, especially yesterday, but it didn't. Why do you guys think? What do you think's going on?
So I think, first of all, maybe he would have felt like he could lock in if Rodon was not being so careful with him. Rodon was very tentative.
Yeah.
When throwing to him. So who knows what would have happened if, Schmidt at least had the cojones last night.
Right.
When I have a feeling, if it were him on the hill Friday night, it might have been a different story. And Soto might have said, well, yeah, we'll hold my beer. But he got his trolling in. So, but yeah, I think he worked hard for those base on balls. But that's his patience at the plate. And he's like Guardy level in my eyes, and that's like the high praise. Donald knows, Chris knows.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
He reads those pitches. He reads those pitches like Guardy.
Only Lynn can compare Brett Gardner with Juan Soto.
It's an accurate comparison. It's an accurate comparison.
It's an accurate.
On reading pitches, Donald, I know I'm not even going to try anything Juan Soto related with you.
Yeah. Hey, and listen, and he can't compare to Guardy in the field too. I mean, let's be honest. Soto's a DH in waiting.
My friend.
It's just a matter of time before that guy's a DH.
Although credit to him, he did make a really nice throw, a nice relay throw over to stop a run because the Yankees were about to score. I think it was Volpe had a deep double that hit the wall, and we held up Dominguez. I think they probably could have sent Dominguez, but it still was a really good throw. Yeah, and
he does have a good arm.
He's still got a very good arm, and he actually knows the right field wall. So he read it very, very well. So I mean,
he did. I liked how he tipped his cap there to him. And he took it all. He had a smile on his face. I think it was funny when the bleacher creatures turned their back on him. It was pretty funny. He didn't get mad. He had a smile on his face. So
back with the kisses and the
yes.
Yeah.
Hey, listen. And yesterday's game, you never know what happens if he doesn't steal third base, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
If he doesn't steal that base, the Mets might not win.
And the Yankees had their chances. They had their chances. I mean, the big one was first and second, and they had Vivas up. Put the bunt down. I mean, and then I was reading something. He'd never put a bunt down in the minors. Then pinch hit and put a bunt down. Right? That's the opportunity. Get these guys over. Get at least one run in. It's one of those. Yesterday, you felt that it was going to be a one-run game, one way or the other. Right. So you got to manufacture runs. You can't just, wait for Judge or wait for Bellinger to hit one out. This is where you got to manufacture. And this is where I think, I don't want to say that this is the Yankee weakness, but if there is one, it's this is where they don't manufacture the runs. They score a lot of runs, but they don't manufacture the runs. In a game like that, that's where you got to bunt the guy over,
Don't you think that's a league-wide issue? I think that it's only with the
teams
that know that they have no power, that they have to find ways to manufacture runs that can lay down bunts. But let's be honest, bunts are not being taught in the minors anymore.
No.
It's not a thing. So players coming through aren't taught to lay down the perfect bunt like they did when we were growing up.
Right.
So it's de-emphasized because of analytics, and that's fine because they don't want to give up outs. And that's just the way it is. So I can't really blame them. I assume Boone knows his players better than we do. If he doesn't think that Vivas, for instance, can lay down a bunt, then who am I to yell at him for not? Because if it goes wrong, there's not a lot of speed on the base paths. That was kind of his excuse, and obviously there's a lot of Yankee fans that found it laughable. But DJ LeMahieu isn't exactly the fastest runner anymore, so I can kind of
he never was.
So, of all the things to yell and complain about, for me, bunting isn't really high on my list with my list of Yankee complaints yesterday. Really, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I know. You just got to grind out some runs if you can. That's my point. Sometimes in a game like that, both sides pitching is great. So you got to kind of, it sucks that you got to, hope for the big hit, right? The big home run. We got it to tie the game, but I knew it was going to be one of those, one-run games. So we got to try to find a way to manufacture a run somehow and not hope for, Judge to come up with a home run. He obviously went 0 for 5. That was the big story yesterday, but
oh no, he's only batting .407.
Right, I know. How can you do that?
That's wrong with him? I do understand the comment or Joe D here. Laying down a bunt shouldn't take that much training. Just hold the bat above the ball and angle it towards the baseline. Listen, you don't need to you don't need to tell that to me, man, because I completely agree.
Right.
I want more fundamentals in baseball. I think it's a vital thing, but it is a fact that it's not being really taught in the minors anymore, and it should be, but it isn't.
Right. No,
you know,
you're absolutely
and there's a little bit of instinct that has to go along with that too, to know when it's, if you're not getting a sign from the clubhouse, you know, to take ownership at the plate, know when it's a time for a bunt, you know. And I think along with not being taught the mechanics of it is how are you, you know, developing players to get the feel for when it would be the good opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, I want to ask both Lynn and Donald a question. Clay Holmes, first Lynn, what do you think about Clay Holmes and how good so far he is as a starter?
I think Clay Holmes owes me $240.46. That's the amount of money I spent on Rolaids when he was with the Yankees. When he was impostering the whole time, that he goes over there, something about the water in Queens. What's up with this? You know, and now like, oh no, you're too good for the bullpen. Let's put you in the starting rotation. And look at him, you know. But I like the guy. I liked his interview with Meredith before the game. And you know, yeah, I guess I sort of kind of like what he threw down, but yeah, I think the Mets, that was a good deal to take. And we were like, oh, good, get him out of the pen. Maybe my stomach will heal. But sure could use him as a starter right now.
But you know
what about you, Donald?
Devin Williams has slid right into that role, the Clay Holmes role right now, right? So
you're right.
Yeah. He's gotten better.
Now, my feelings on Clay Holmes are actually slightly infamous because I did have a massive rant online one time about him.
Yeah, you did.
It's just banging the table and yelling. So, to be honest, all these gray hairs in my beard here is entirely his fault. So, I want compensation on that. So, no, listen, I'm actually just going to praise the Mets front office for figuring out that, you know what, maybe he's actually better as a starter than a closer. So I'm actually going to give credit to you guys, Rob, because you figured out that he should actually be stretched out as a starter. See, the thing is, in a one-inning situation with that sinker, if it's on, it's elite. If it's not, he doesn't really have great secondary pitches. And
this is true.
And when there's so much pressure, and sometimes if he was coming on with a runner on, he'd often bring that runner home. I think there was like a stat where at one point he was bringing in over like 50% of his inherited runners last year because I think for that reason. He just couldn't really handle the pressure. But over a longer stretch, I think that he can get comfortable, get that sinker cooking, and I think it's working over a longer period, over a longer stretch for him in a game. It's definitely working for him. But, you know, not everyone can be a closer. He wasn't the worst closer in the world. I'm not saying that, but I just think that he was. I think he's actually better off as a starter. And credit to the Mets front office for figuring that out, because the Yankees wouldn't have figured that out. And I would never have foreseen that myself.
Me either.
And I thought it was a slightly laughable move. So, you know what? They were right. But still, he was an awful closer for the Yankees. I'm so glad he's not here anymore. Good heavens, I couldn't stand him. Stand him.
Like you said, he was actually great. I mean, the first half last year, he was like unhittable. Like you said, when the sinker is on, he's on. But then when it's off, which we've seen in the second half of the season, but then when he lost the closer role and he was like the setup guy in the playoffs, he was okay. You know, he was back to being
pressure was slightly off him.
Right, exactly. So maybe that's
Rob, I wanted to ask you, how deep into the games has Holmes been going other than what we saw this series?
Yeah, he's been going 6 innings. You know, he's been pretty good for the bullpen. Okay, I cannot complain. I can't complain about him. You know, Chris me and Chris joke about it all the time because I'm not waiting to see the homes that you guys got, and I'm happy. But he's been pretty good for the bullpen, so that I can't complain about that. Before I let Chris ask some more stuff, there's one other question I want to ask you guys before I forget. Carlos Mendoza, Yankee bench coach for all those years. I want to get you guys' opinion on him as a manager. What do you think about it? Because I know what Chris told me before he started as manager of the Mets. So Lynn, what do you think about him as manager of the Mets?
I wish he was the manager on our side of the tracks.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
you're the Aaron Boone fan.
At least, let me just say, Boone was, I don't know what he was doing other than spitting out the sunflower seeds yesterday. He was not managing that game well yesterday at all. And Friday night, better than, but last night I'm like, what are you even doing? When he brought Schmidt back out in the 7th, partly because I was embarrassed that I said, "Oh, this has to be it for." And I typed it after the 6th inning. I'm like, "That's got to be it for Schmidt for the day." And then back from commercial, and there he is. I'm like, "What?" And we know he only went that first batter, but look, I think Mendoza is managing a team of veterans and elite players pretty well, and I think that he's. Look, I think he learns a lot on our side of the river as bench coach, and I think that's why I'm saying what I just said is that I think he took on a lot of that with him when he went over there, and look what's happened in terms of their success the past few years compared to prior years. I think he's doing a pretty good job. I might have been exaggerating at the beginning of what I said, but I think he's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, I'm very happy with him. I wanted Buck to get one more shot because he had the great year and he had the bad year, but that didn't happen. But I'm happy right now. I can't complain. Donald, how about you? What do you think about Mendy as manager of the Mets?
Well, I think the key move was when he moved Lindor to the leadoff spot last year. It really turned Lindor around, and he turned the Mets season around because Lindor was struggling, and then he figured out that he should be leading off, and it completely changed everything. Changed your season, changed him, and that is a sign of a really good manager when you just figure out the right spot to put somebody in, and then it all just kind of comes together because you guys really struggled at the start, and a lesser manager would have let it compound him and maybe he'd lose the locker room, but he didn't lose the locker room. He actually gained respect with the move that he made and the moves that he made subsequently. So I have to say, I think he's an excellent manager. I mean, I remember I was at one of the games at the stadium in the summer, and I think the Mets blew the Yankees out. What was the score? It was like 15-5 or 16-5 or something. It was an absolute obliteration. It really was. And I was like, shit, this team is good. This team is good. You know what I'm saying? So I only have the highest respect for him. And I mean, although I think Boone's doing a pretty good job this year, by and large, I would prefer Mendoza to be our manager. I definitely agree with Lynn there, but no, I think that he's pushing the right buttons, and obviously, whatever he's doing, the rest of the league is paying attention to because Juan Soto was really interested in signing with you guys. So I'm sure no small measure to how good Mendoza's locker room was, because obviously Lindor talked him up and talked it up and talked the Mets up. So I'm sure the money helped too. But all these things go hand in hand. So no, I give a lot of credit to him. I think he's a great manager, and the run that you guys had was pretty remarkable. It was kind of fun. It was a fun run. So he does deserve credit for that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, hey, I have a good question that I'm going to hit all you guys with. But before we do that, let's get to the starting lineups for tonight. We'll kind of talk a little bit about the game that we're going to see. Hopefully a win by the Yankees.
Hopefully
all right,
not.
here's the here's the Mets starting lineup. Is there any difference? No, right? McNeil is starting, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, McNeil's starting.
Marte's been awful.
Yeah, he's under 200.
I know they got him batting so high too. What is he, 6th?
When's Alonso going to break back out?
Yeah, he's in a little slump.
I'm not suggesting tonight, by the way.
No, tomorrow. Tomorrow will be better.
I'm suggesting tonight. Yeah, pretty much. Mets lineup. Listen, the key is, and we've been talking about this all year. Soto still he hasn't broken out yet, and that's it. Is it the contract? I thought maybe going into Yankee Stadium something might happen, but like you said, Lynn said Friday night, Rodon just walked him, 3 times he walked. And he really didn't get much to hit. So once he breaks out, because we know, and you 3 guys, he's gonna break out eventually. I mean, it's not gonna continue like this. When he does, and if Alonso's hitting at the same time, and Lindor, forget about it. And Nimmo, that lineup is powerful.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you, Rob, because you're obviously closer to the situation. I was like, how do you feel about Soto's start? Are you underwhelmed or are you excited? Like, what are you feeling?
Well, I'm disappointed, of course, but I still am not panicking, on May 19th. I'm still not in a panic. I mean, listen, in a couple of weeks, if he doesn't start hitting something, they have to figure out what's going on. But right now, because Alonso was so red hot and the team was doing great, they're still in first place. The Phillies snuck up. The Phillies are only a game out right now. I mean, they just came out of nowhere, and the Braves, of course, are starting to be the Braves again. So it's going to be, and me and Chris talked about this off season, it's going to be, the East is going to be a beast with those 3 teams. So Soto's got to break out of it eventually. The Mets need that bat.
Yeah, the hot streaks are not always linear. It's not like you don't really know when it's going to happen. I think it's a comfort issue. I don't know if he's 100% comfortable yet in the new surroundings. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think he is, because he seems to talk about the Yankees like a lot, like more than I would understand, to be honest.
Right.
Considering he's moved across town, he's mentioned the Yankees a lot. And if I were a Met fan, I'd be like, "What do you keep talking about the Yankees for?"
Yeah,
who cares? Move on.
Right, because we have largely.
It makes me wonder. Oh, go. Sorry, John.
Yeah, so I just think that there might be a comfort issue. He does look a little bit sheepish at Yankee Stadium right now, but I think he's handled it very classy with the tipping of the cap and stuff. But he does look a little bit sheepish. He's like, but to be honest, I think the fact that he hasn't taken off in this series is because the Yankees are pitching him very carefully. I think that they're very smart to know that if you put anything even remotely in the zone, he's going to absolutely mash. So they're trying to avoid that as much as possible. So, I mean, he's such a patient hitter. He's never going to force it. And that's what's awesome about him. And I think that's something that people that maybe just only look at the box score freak out about. But he's such a smart hitter, and he refuses to allow a pitcher to dictate what's going on. He will dictate the at-bat. This is his office. If you're going to throw outside the zone, I ain't chasing. And I'll happily take a walk and pass it on to Pete Alonso. I think that's a great thing about him. So these idiots like Sal Licata on WFA, walks too much. Well, he does it deliberately. I mean, there's not a bad thing to get on base a lot. I'm sorry. I refuse to believe having a 400 on base percentage is a bad thing. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm always going to try and defend him as much as possible and with the way that he is as a hitter. He's one of the best hitters of the generation. So Met fans will be happy. But do I think that he's comfortable? No. And I wonder whether deep down he was more comfortable with the Yankees. But I think it was a family thing. I think his family really wanted him to go to the Mets. That's my personal opinion.
I wonder why. Outside of the extras that he ended up getting, was it just that, or was there something else that clicked with the Mets and his family? Maybe
it's the mother thing. It was the mother thing. Cohen really did really well with.
Really butted her up, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that he did what all like smart negotiators do. They found a chink in the opposition's armor and really, really dug at it. And the Yankees' chink in the armor was that they're very corporate and their security is extremely tough. Yeah. And I've experienced it because I've been to a lot of ballparks, and the Yankee Stadium security is far stricter than any other ones in terms of moving around. So I think that I think that they played on it. They just and as anyone should in that such situation, if you want to get one over the opposition, they just kind of dug away at it because there was the incident where his mother kind of got kicked out the locker room or kicked out of a situation, and it wasn't, and Soto wasn't happy about it, nor should he be. And I think it pissed him off, and obviously Cohen played on it because the Mets obviously have more of a family thing going with it. So they really they played on it, and he had more of a personal relationship with his family, with his mother during the negotiations, whereas Hal Steinbrenner didn't have any of that. He didn't have any relationship with Juan Soto whatsoever. Right. Hal admitted during at the end of the year that he didn't really call Soto at any point or get to know him, and he kind of regretted that, as he should regret that, because I think that kind of put us a step behind in negotiations because Steve Cohen really wined and dined him and really kind of pushed the whole thing as he should. I'm not degrading you guys at all. I'm just saying that's how a good negotiator would do. And I think that the Yankees overplayed that we're history, we're this, we're that, and I don't think Soto really cared.
Some players don't.
Yeah, not every player is going to be like that. But they really forced that whole family thing down, and it worked. And whether it's an over-exaggeration, probably, this whole thing that the Yankees are really bad with families, I think that's probably an exaggeration, but I think that they are pretty tough, and I think they are pretty strict.
They're more professional, more like you said, more
they're more buttoned up. They're more
nice, but they're right.
They're very corporate. There's the whole thing about the suites that Jeter had to pay for a suite. A-Rod he's gonna have to pay for suites, so Soto should as well. And those are the kind of things that worked in your favor in the negotiations. But I definitely think that deep down, I think Soto was more comfortable at Yankee Stadium. I think he loved the short porch in right field, even though that he's not a pull hitter. I think it's obviously a good thing to have there. And I think he had a really tight relationship with the fans in right field, and I think he loved it. And the Bronx has a huge Dominican community and all that stuff. So I think he really wanted to be a Yankee, but I think his family kind of pushed the Met thing. And I'm not the only one that's saying that. I think Michael Kay heard that, and I believe that it was kind of like John Heyman said that as well. I think it was, or was it Joel Sherman? It's one of these writers said that I think Soto, if you had the choice, would have chosen the Yankees, but his family wanted him to go to the Mets big time.
And I'm going to say something. I know no one's going to agree with me, but I think he's not a good fit in this lineup the way it is now. Soto, because think about it, if he signs, Judge is going to be back in center field.
True. And
whether anybody wants to hear this or not, Judge is not a great center fielder.
Oh, he's a bad center fielder.
Right. So if you have a bad center fielder and a bad right fielder, I don't care who you got in left field, that's not going to make up for those two spots.
Good point.
So if you sign Soto to 15 years, you still got Stanton here for 3 more, right? Or, I mean, I don't think they're going to eat his money, right? So you got him for 3 more years. You got Judge here for 7 more years. Are you really gonna keep Judge in center field for the next 3 years until Stanton, leaves, and then he could be a DH? But then by then, Soto is gonna have to be a DH, right? So
Yeah.
I think the fit. Listen, I'm not saying offensively. Obviously, him and Judge back to back would be one of the best. I mean, we've seen it last year. That's one of the best combos we've seen in a lifetime, really, to be honest. But I just think roster wise and defensive wise, I just don't think he was that good of a fit. And I'm kind of happy in that sense that he wasn't re-signed.
You're right about that, man. If you take a step back and look at the construction of the lineup, Aaron Judge is a great right fielder.
Yes.
But a below average center fielder. He's much better in right field. Plus, it's easier on his legs. And he's got a rocket of an arm. So it wasn't an ideal fit having Aaron Judge roam that huge center field in his later years.
Yeah, no way.
And obviously, Soto would have been signed up to being 41, 42. I mean, he's going to be a DH probably within 3-4 years. Being quite honest. I mean, that's
definitely,
that's even maybe being kind. So it wasn't an ideal fit, actually, when you think about it. And obviously, we've got Trent Grisham in center fielder, who's a Gold Glove caliber center fielder, and he's giving you surprising pop. So have we really missed him? I wouldn't say so. Then, of course, we've got Dominguez coming through. You got Spencer Jones coming through probably next year. There wasn't an ideal, real fit there with Soto and Aaron Judge there as well. So you could kind of see that it wasn't an ideal fit when you think about it, certainly over 15 years. And I think once the contract started to get up into the 13s, the 14s, and 15s, like the Yankees had a really hard time with that. And I think deep down, I think they're probably quite happy about how it's worked out. And Jonathan's in the chat says George Lombard's going to skyrocket through. Yeah, I didn't mention Lombard because he's an infielder.
I could see him.
I completely agree. He's
our lineup.
He's the star. He's the star of our system.
Next season, I could see him being in our lineup.
Yeah,
I think sooner. I wouldn't be surprised sooner.
Because we don't really have an infield. If there's our problem is not the outfield. Our outfield's fine,
right?
Without Soto. Our problem is the infield. We don't really have an infield.
I've been saying that since spring training.
Goldschmidt has been an amazing signing, but we don't really have an infield apart from that.
Right. Rice will be probably first base next year. Probably, listen, our infield's going to be Rice, Jazz, Volpe, and then Lombard at third. I think that's going to be our 2026.
Cabrera's not gone for good,
Who?
Cabrera's not gone for good,
No, but I think he's going to go back to being where I think he's better suited as that utility guy that's going to come in. He's going to play a lot. He's just not going to be the starter at third base. I think he's
not an everyday player.
He could play third, play second.
Judge himself said that night when he was being interviewed that he had finally earned that spot and he deserved to have that spot.
Yeah.
For the time being, yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm just saying. No. I just don't think he's an everyday guy. That's all.
He's certainly been showing himself up as an everyday guy for a few months now.
He's been solid.
Right, Lynn bringing the fire. I mean, it is heartbreaking.
Look, is he Greg Nettles next gen? Absolutely not.
No.
Well, did I say at the same time? Absolutely not, Chris.
Is he Scott Brocious? No.
No. Is he supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
Yes, he is. He is. No, he is that.
Well,
I like him. I'm not putting the guy down at all. I like him. I just don't like him as the everyday third baseman. I'd rather have him as our super utility guy.
Let's take this offline. Can't end well. Just kidding.
I know.
No, is he your new Brett Gardner?
Look, that's who I am. I'm the
he should be manager. Gardner should be manager. Cabrera should be our starting third baseman. I get it. No problem.
Lynn's loyalty is awesome. And
yes. No, I love it.
In this point in time, nobody's going to convince me that it would be Peraza over Cabrera. Peraza has should have a spot because we've talked about that on both our shows, Donald, right? Like that they've done him so wrong that he's earned to be up. But I think
He's got
that
to hit. He's got to
What?
hit.
yeah,
He's got to hit the ball.
he's
He's
that's
a great
the
glove,
thing.
but he's got to hit the
That's
ball.
thing. And although you're not going to get any sort of 300 average out of Cabrera, he is climbing into the upper half of the twos, and
Yes,
being an everyday player has had a
he's gotten
has
better.
had
No,
an
he was.
impact
Yeah,
on that.
It's
But
heartbreaking, the injury. That was one of the worst
yes,
injuries.
it was horrible.
Yeah.
I may
love
or may
Cabrera.
not have cried. I don't know. But yeah, and that's all right. I'll get off my Cabrera.
All right, so all right, Lynn,
Cabrera.
what do you
But
think
you're
of?
spot on. He was playing great, and we
was.
all wish him well. I mean, it's
Absolutely, yeah.
just dreadful what happened to him.
All
But
right, so what do we think? It's
by and large, I agree with Chris. I'm afraid he is not a starting everyday third baseman, and under any circumstances, he's a
He's got to hit.
He's a utility. He's a
All right,
utility.
what do you guys? Yeah, and defensively, he's good.
He's doing great against lefties, guys. Anyhow,
Chris, you're saying that about Peraza, but to be honest, the Yankees have never really given him a full run of games, 4 or 5 games in a row. Because I mean, it was only last week where he I think he had a home run. Yeah, he had a home run, and then he got benched for the next 4 days. I mean, in fact, he got pinch hit the next at bat after he hit a home run. So the Yankees really don't give Peraza any opportunity whatsoever.
So let him push the broom around the field to be the utility guy for a while.
So that's why I can't really blame him for not having the greatest stats, because some players are more comfortable playing every day over a stretch, getting comfortable than others.
Sure.
Some players can handle the part-time thing. Some people can't. I think Peraza's in the latter category. I think he's someone that and it's not going to happen with the Yankees.
Right. Yeah, that's something. Yeah, I don't think they like him. Personally,
if he goes to another team, if you give him a stretch of 200 games, I think he'd put up representative numbers, and I would not be surprised if he is as good as Anthony Volpe. I really do believe that, if not better.
Okay,
I could see that.
All right. So, what do you guys think of this lineup quickly before we?
Can you read it to Grandma Bad Eyes?
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding. I can make it out.
Paul Goldschmidt is leading off. Grisham batting second. Judge third. Bellinger cleanup. Volpe, Dominguez, DJ, Austin Wells, and then Oswald Peraza.
Hey, my boy!
He's
Your
in
boy
there.
Blue. Your
He's
boy
in there.
Blue.
He's my boy. I love Peraza. Let's talk about DJ LeMahieu.
He's looked okay so far. You know,
right?
I love it. I love DJ. I've been rooting for him, but last year, like we said, man, he was close to getting DFA'd. I think Judge and a few of the other veterans saved him from getting DFA'd. So he was on kind of a short leash, I think, this year coming back. But you could see when he hit the home run yesterday, that hit meant a lot to him. You could see he was pumped. And then I think it was the next at bat, he had guys on base. He hit the ball hard.
Yep.
Yeah. So listen, he might be our answer here at third base for now. But we'll see.
His exit velo was at the highest 106 off the bat yesterday.
There you go. See?
So
I like that.
Yeah, we were talking about that on the show this morning. And so the two big standouts for DJ yesterday was the home run, which yada 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 in 3 ballparks that that'll get out. Get over yourselves, you French people.
Oh, Rob was screaming yesterday, I'm sure, when that thing went out.
Are you one of them, Rob?
She's right. Yeah, she's right, though. It would have only been, other than Yankee Stadium, it would have only been a home run in 3 other stadiums,
it would have
right?
been a home run in Houston,
Petco Park,
and Tampa.
Yeah, in Tampa.
Which is basically Yankee Stadium.
yeah, exactly. I was screaming.
I'm sure every Met fan. That's the best home run I ever seen in my life.
The thing that I have to admit, my heart stopped was that amazing dive and catch. I think it was the 7th inning.
Yeah.
That he dove for that ball, and I'm like, oh, please get up, please get up. And I mean, easy transfer to Goldie. So we got to see good, a good D moment and, a good bat going on. Sure, it's very small sample size, but if he's in the lineup today, it means he's not so sore from yesterday. So there's that.
That is good. I love it. I love seeing him. So, all right. So here's a question. All you guys, what do you think right now is the chances we'll see Or do you think we'll see right now, May 18th, this part of the season? Do you guys think we're going to see a Subway Series in October?
You guys start off. Lynn.
Yeah, I see
Lynn,
Donald shaking his head. So let's get the no, because I'll be the last one to answer. So
okay.
Donald.
I'm a firm no. I don't see the Yankees in the World Series. I've stood by it. I just don't see it. I don't think the Mets either, but the Mets are better than the Yankees as constituted at the moment. But the National League is so much stronger.
Yes.
So much stronger. The truth is, the Yankees have played fairly well, but if you look at their record, they would still only be like the 5th best team in the National League, or like the 6th. Like the Yankees would be a borderline playoff team in the National League. Borderline. Because that's how good the National League is. And I'm saying that as a Yankee fan. I really think that the Yankees are maybe being overrated because they're in the American League. And they can only play as good as who you're around. But the Tigers look like a really good team so far. And I think the Red Sox will get better. And I think the Yankees are just a pretty good. I don't think they're great. And I think that they are. I think they're winning mostly on the basis of a couple of real surprises in Ben Rice and Trent Grisham and Aaron Judge batting 1,000. And of course, Max Fried having the best start to a Yankee career like ever. I think his ERA is like historic for the Yankees. It's like the best since like 1920 or some crazy shit. So those are the reasons why the Yankees are where they're at. So,
and you don't see it continue.
Unless the Yankees make a big move at the deadline. Now, if the Yankees make a big move at the deadline, if you revisit this in July, and the Yankees have a really good infield, a really good third baseman, they trade for a third baseman that can, has an 800 OPS and all that stuff, gives us a little bit extra power. Then I will revisit that and I'll say, okay, I think we could maybe do it. As presently constituted, I don't think we've got the pitching staff for it, the depth anyway. And I don't think we got the offense in the infield to do it because Jazz Chisholm's out. And to be honest, when Jazz Chisholm was healthy, he was striking out 50% of the time anyway.
He wasn't hitting 200. He's hitting like 180.
100. So I really think that the Yankees are being slightly overrated by their fan base right now. I think they're just a pretty good team. I don't think they're a great team by any stretch. I think the Mets are better, but the Mets unfortunately have the Padres to deal with, the Giants to deal with. The Dodgers are miles better than them by miles and miles. So
I wouldn't go miles.
Happen, unfortunately.
I'm not going to go miles with the Dodgers right now.
Too
many injuries.
So good. Come on, look at that team. What I will say
when
is
they're healthy, I agree.
Maybe next year. I think another maybe good offseason for the Yankees, good offseason for the Mets. Could maybe do it next year. I just think it's a little too early right now. If the Yankees get Kyle Tucker in the offseason.
I could see Lynn chomping at the bit.
Now I'm talking. I'm talking World Series. Get me Kyle Tucker in the offseason. Now I'm talking World Series. Not until then.
I still don't think he's coming, but that's my guess. I really don't, but we'll see. All right.
Why not? Do you think he's going to re-sign with the Cubs?
I don't know. I just don't think he's going to come here. I don't think the Yankees are going to go big for him. I don't know.
They don't go big for anyone.
That's what I mean. I don't have the confidence anymore in it happening.
Me neither. It's driving me insane.
Right. It is. It's strange. It's a strange feeling to have about the Yankees, and also too getting back to with Soto. Tucker is a right fielder. I don't know how good of a left fielder he is. I've never seen him play. He's played a handful of games there. I don't know, like how they're going to work this out. Is he going to play left for a couple of years?
Well, there's also the Dominguez aspect.
Yeah, I don't know, but let's see. All right, Lynn, what do you think? Subway Series, October. What are we talking about here?
Well, so I agree with a number of things Donald said. Barring doing something for pitching in the at the trade deadline that would really make an impact. But even if Hal were to peel the Velcro back and open up, the purse a little bit, which is always a wonder, then who's going to sign up for a 1-year deal? Because that's what it would be, knowing that we have Cole and Heel coming back. And so I don't see them going full contract at the deadline.
But who coming back this year? Cole next year, right? And Hill next year too.
Cole, right? Okay, yes, but I'm really focusing on Cole and Heel. But I think the point still remains. It's going to be a stopgap like Goldie was, for a pitcher. And what pitcher of any weight is going to take that over the other offers that I'm sure will.
But remember who we're coming back this year, right? Not just Hill, but for the bullpen, we just got Loizaga back. We're going to get Cousins back at some point. Efros is coming back. Right.
So technically, you're right. What I did was I was talking out of my head with that because I've already managed my expectations that we may not see Heel this year.
Wow. Okay.
I'm just saying. This kid has a history, right?
You're right.
At his young age, and
you're
so
right.
I'd rather be pleasantly surprised there.
Okay.
And more in the pitching we don't have at the moment.
Okay.
But to the point about World Series, I'm really of two minds because I'm big on manager expectations, but I'm also hopes and dreams. I don't know, So what I'll say is this: I don't see them making the World Series. It hurts my heart to say it. I do think we have a shot at the ALCS, only because of how the other divisions look against us right at the moment, and that could change because there are some early signs of some teams that we might think of as sleeper teams that are doing some things early on. But again, we also have to remember it's really early on. Yeah. I say for division should be a take, that should be a gimme, and I think we stand a really good chance at the ALCS.
I can see that. I definitely see that. And let's not forget that Big G's coming back.
Right, Stanton too. I'm not even mentioning Stanton. Right,
exactly. Big G's going to really help this lineup. Big time.
I kind of like that kid.
I just wish that Ben Rice could play third base because it means that we're not going to see much of Ben Rice.
Well, I think he's going to play first, and I think he's going to catch. Catching is his natural position. That's what he came up as. So
you think that means that Scar is going to get cut or what?
That's what I think. I think not cut, but at least try to be sent down or because I can't see them keeping 3 catches.
No.
Well, Austin Wells better pony up.
Yeah, that's right. He's batting he's not even batting his weight here. Come on. Pick it up. You're right. I wonder if they could send him down. I think they can. Right? He's probably got options.
Put him on the IL like they did Stroman.
There you go. Right. The Phantom IL. That's a possibility. Stroman. I agree.
Is Jonathan's in the chat suggesting that we use one of our relievers and stretch him out to be a starter for the rest of the season?
Yanks can offer an all-star reliever a starter spot for 1 year. I don't know if that's going to happen. Especially in the middle of the season. I don't know if that would happen.
It's not a bad shout, though, because obviously that has been working. Obviously, worked with Clayton Holmes, and there's tons of examples all over the league
it's
of
tough
that.
to do during the season, but I think starting we're going to be.
We did that with Mike King, though. Remember, we did that with King?
Yeah.
During the season, we turned him into a starter, and he was great.
Well,
is there any at the moment in our bullpen who you would consider that could possibly be a 5-inning kind of guy? Is there anyone you can think of right now?
I don't know. My hope was Hill's going to come back second half, and then if he comes back and if everybody else is healthy, then I think Will Warren would be the Michael King in the bullpen, that guy that could give you multiple innings in the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
That was my guess, and that's just going to strengthen. Hopefully, what's going to be is the strength of our team, because that has to be the bullpen has to be the strength.
Absolutely. I'm gonna plug you guys big time right now because I remember on your on my channel, Chris, you said Cookie Carrasco is cooked and he's gonna really struggle. And I was like, "Oh, do you think so? He might turn out." He's like, "No. He's terrible." Chris was spot on. So that's why you guys need to sub up to this channel. Anyone who's watching right now or after the fact, Chris knows his stuff. He did it. He predicted it. He's like,
that wasn't that hard of a prediction. Trust me.
Right, but remember, he was actually having a very good spring at the time. And then there was a lot of Yankee, you know what the Yankees do. They get their media guys to really boost
Yeah,
them
of
up.
course.
Oh, he's going to be the next surprise big signing. Chris wasn't buying any of it.
No.
That's
right.
why you guys need to support this
Rob
channel.
gave me the inside info from what he was pitching last year for the
Right.
That's
When
right.
Rob knows his shit.
I got the inside info. I can't take all the blame.
Same thing with Stroman too. What a
Oh,
disaster!
I can't
Keep
stand
him on
it.
the IL. Lynn's going to his house now to crack him in his knees. Keep him on the IL. Like, don't
No.
you even think about
All I have to do
Awful
is give
excuse for a
him a look that withers people.
Right.
I do have
get off
that.
that IL. Stay right there.
I don't
All right,
know
Rob,
words.
you now let me know. What do you think right now? Yankees, Mets, Subway Series in October.
Right now, no. I'm with Donald. Maybe next year. It depends. Let's take the Yankees. You're pitching. Who's going to come back? Is Hill going to come back? Then he'll need a spring training. It's just the pitching injuries, I think, are just, and they're handling it. Listen, if you guys, they're handling very, very well. So I mean, it's so far so good, but it's only May. We don't know what's going to happen. So I think both the Mets and Yankees could make the Mets will make the NLCS, I think, against the Dodgers, and I think Tigers, Yankees, and American League. I like the Tigers. I said that during the in the preseason. I did like the Tigers. With the Mets, I think it's going to be a rematch of last year's championship series. If the Dodgers get healthy, the Dodgers are just too tough. I'm not gonna kid myself and say the Mets the Mets are gonna win the National League Championship Series easily against the Dodgers. No, they played them pretty tough last year, yes. But the Mets pitching too. Is Sean Manaea coming back? When is he coming back? And how is he going to pitch? Is he going to pitch like last year? We just don't know. And the moves the teams are going to make at the trade deadline, that could, that'll have a lot to say about it. Will Cohen go after somebody? I think he definitely will. If he's that close, I think Cohen's just going to get whoever he wants, whenever he wants. I just think he's going to throw money. He wants a World Series really bad for the Mets. He made his prediction when he bought the team. He made the timeline, and it's getting very close to that timeline. But I think the Mets and Yankees probably just fall short. But you never know. If Soto gets hot, and Soto and Alonso and Lindor are hot all summer long, then anything could happen.
Yeah, and listen, we've seen it happen with both those guys. So it is possible. I'm agreeing with all you guys what you're saying. The Yankees do have the quote unquote easier road to the World Series because the rest of the American League right now is not playing great. But Detroit is definitely playing great. But other than that, our division not great. Central, we know the Central is essential, even though the Twins just ran off 13 straight. The West, I still think the Rangers are going to step up. I still see them winning that division. I don't believe in Seattle. Their lineup does not scare me. They're great starting pitching, nice bullpen,
and we're seeing them next.
Yeah,
so we'll get a little.
And we just seen them in Seattle. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're just not that impressive. I
agree.
I don't know. I think the Rangers are gonna. You see DeGrom. If DeGrom can stay healthy, I mean, he's DeGrom. He's still DeGrom when he pitches. So
he's pitching to a 2 ERA right now, 2.20, I believe.
Yeah. So I think, and I do believe the Mets might be a tad bit better right now, but they also got the tougher road. Like you said, look at their division. You got two other teams you got to worry about. The Nationals are not an easy team, right? They're going to be a pain in the neck, as you've seen already. The Central is kind of a mix there. Chicago, I don't think they're going to be one of the top teams, but they should win their division. Maybe Cincinnati steps up finally. I've been predicting for 2 years now. And then the West. The West has got 4 teams that could make the playoffs. I mean, you could get 3 wild cards out of that National League West, which is crazy to think, but we'll see. Yeah,
the Padres.
Yeah, the Padres. the Giants, the D-backs, all of them.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers. The Dodgers are as banged up as a team could be, and they're still fine. They're still going to win games because of
just wait
who
till
they
the
got.
summer when they heat up because they always do.
Yeah, and they're going to acquire someone big. They always do. They're going to acquire somebody.
But as for the Yankees, man, even though I'm kind of saying that they're not the greatest team, I have to say I think Aaron Boone has actually exceeded my expectations with the way he's managed this team, because it's not the easiest team to manage, in my opinion. Because he's obviously dealing with Luis Gil's injury, Garrett Cole's injury. That alone could cripple most franchises, but and then you had Cookie Carrasco and Stroman starting so horrendously, historically badly, that would be enough to derail a lot of teams. Then you add the fact that Williams, who's supposedly our big star acquisition, was pitching to a 10 ERA, and he lost his closer spot within basically 3 weeks. That again would be another reason to envisage us struggling, and then we've had to use we've gotten surprises from Grisham and Ben Rice and things like that, and they all seem pretty locked in. I mean, we just lost Cabrera again to a brutal injury where, I think the team would be heartbroken by the extent of that injury, but they're still kind of going out there and doing their thing. Aaron Judge is batting fucking 1,000, ridiculous.
He is. He's unbelievable.
He is unbelievable. And Goldschmidt turning back the clock. He's looking like a Hall of Famer, which he is. But so it's not been the easiest team to manage, and I think he's doing it pretty well. I mean, I know yesterday wasn't great, but by and large, I think he's managed pretty well.
Even Lynn's got to give him a little bit of credit.
It's not the easiest team to manage, man. It's not. There's been much easier teams to manage, and this is not the easiest team to manage. We don't have a third baseman. We lost their second baseman for like 2 months or however how long it's going to take with Jazz. So that all these injuries should be enough to cripple most teams, but it ain't crippling the Yankees. In fact, the Yankees are going from strength to strength. So if I'm to give them credit,
Yankees started the season with 3/5 of their rotation out. Imagine a team starting with and including their ace, right?
They're comfortably in first place. Comfortably. That says a lot.
It helps their division.
And you couldn't even stack much of a bullpen at the beginning of the season either, because we had injuries in the pen at the start. So, look, this is being recorded, right?
Okay, Lynn.
I'm gonna
edit it out if you want.
I'm gonna say I really do see a much better Boone this season than prior years. I know.
That's wait.
I know. Someone please call him and let him know I said that. No, but not even just that. I think he has to figure. We know he loves to play chess organically anyway, but he's been forced to do that and forced to cobble up all sorts of creative things. So I agree with that, what Donald said, but I'm also seeing it in his interviews. I have not, and I keep count every season. I haven't heard one turn the corner. One,
it's coming.
It's right. It's right there. We're almost
right there in front of us.
There in front of us. So either maybe he got some really good media training. I don't know what it is, but I also think he settled into himself. This was his first team he managed, right? And so I think, what is this, year 12 of him being manager?
He's had some good at bats. I hate when he says that. He had some good at bats.
Yeah.
Right? When Jazz goes 0 for 4, but I think he had some good at bats. He was good swing.
He's figuring it out. Right. Maybe it's that he's using different things and they'll annoy me any day now. But I do see a more of a leadership makeup of him and the way he's presenting himself. And maybe that's what they're seeing in the clubhouse a little bit differently too. So,
all right,
yes,
guys.
I'm giving flowers to Boone.
All right, I got one more question and then we could head to the game. We ask our guests every time the one final question, and we'll start with Lynn, ladies first. if you were named commissioner today, God, I would love to see that. But if you were named commissioner today of baseball, what changes would you make to the game, if any?
Well, I would start with getting the MLB UA together. I mean, I would get the Umpires Association together and have a big table round about rules that got to change and get more clear defiance and norms. Some of this stuff, I'm not so pro robo ump as others are. I think that it would take so much, it would suck so much air out of the game to go to robo umps. And face it, we need those fights at the plate. It gets the team going, it gets the fans going. But more than that, I want consistency. I want a little bit more norming. We know every situation's a little bit different. I'd want to look at those umpires. I'd want some rules in place for how they're reviewed. Is anyone observing them, giving them feedback? Where's the accountability to umpires? Who are they really accountable to? Their crew chief? So I would really start with who's ruling the games, because this season, as early as it is, I've seen some really, really bad calls.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's where I would start. But don't get me started beyond that.
Okay. All right. That's a pretty good one. We didn't hear that one yet. All right, Donald, you're up.
I'm getting rid of the Ghost Runner in the 10th inning.
Yes!
I'm moving it to the 11th inning. I'm moving it to the 11th inning. You can still, once you get to the 11th inning, then be my guest. Or what you can do is, instead of having him at second, you can have him at first. But I'm refusing to have a person in runner in the scoring position at the start of an inning. I think it's insane. And it's totally against baseball. So if they want to do it in the next inning, fine. But I think it should be normal rules in the 10th inning. Because it's unfair on relievers. It's unfair on a bunch of things. And I think it's insane that basically you can win a game by a ground out and a sacrifice, and you could win.
Yeah, basically.
That's ridiculous, completely ridiculous. So that's changing. Another thing I am doing, I'm bringing in the robot umps. You can just have it's done in tennis. It's not you're not
just the challenge system or straight.
You're not throwing these umpires over the fucking Brooklyn Bridge. I mean, they're still going to be active, but there's a challenge system, which there is in tennis and every other sport
that we need.
In the world. Takes 2 seconds, game over, because an at bat changes by one missed pitch. So I am doing that. That's another thing. So those are the two major things. Another thing I would do is I would add another, say, 5 seconds to the pitch clock. 25, 30 seconds, whatever. Yeah. But it's still going to be a pitch clock, but I'm going to extend it because I do think that there is a connection between all these injuries and having to quickly fire out these pitches like it's a pitching machine. Your arm is not supposed to be throwing 100 miles an hour every 20 seconds. It's not supposed to be like that. So
vote for Donald, everybody.
Make it 25, 30 seconds, and I think you would see a noticeable improvement in terms of injuries. That's my prediction. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
All right. You beat me.
I like that one.
All right. So, guys, before we go, plug your shows, everything. Do that before we go. Give out all your information, please.
Pinstripe Chronicles, baby. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Check us out. Much love. I got to sign out.
And Wednesdays and Fridays, 10 a.m. live for the guys. For me, Upper Deck every Sunday live at 11 Eastern. And on off days, that we don't have a set schedule for it. We have a new show, New York Yankees History and Heroes. And that's with Spencer and Ciara, my co-host on Upper Deck. And so we just had an episode. Check it out on YouTube. We just did a show Thursday night. And it was our hero was Dave Winfield, and we focused on the 1985 Yankees. Cool. So check that out if you want to.
There you go. That's awesome. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We love you
Thank you for having
guys.
us.
You guys
Thank
are
you.
awesome. You got the best Yankee shows out there. So
Thank
definitely
you.
check these guys out. Lynn's the
Chris.
best. Donald's the best. The rest of the Pinstripe Chronicles,
Yeah.
awesome guys. Definitely give them a follow.
Yeah.
Not just a follow, but watch them because they are the best out there for Yankee coverage, bar none.
Bring a hell of a lot of fire. Hell of a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Chris, I wanted to say one thing before we go. Thanks, guys. I had a lot of fun
Thank you so much
talking
for
to
having
all these Yankee fans and Yankee guys and Lynn. I listened to you when Chris was filling in, and I'm a Met fan, but I still love listening to all baseball, and I love you guys show. I do love it. I just wanted to set a reminder. Tuesday at 3 p.m. we have the return of Chauncey Hayden, and that's going to be another fun show. Chauncey was great when he came on. He's going to plug his new book. He's going to have more stories to tell us. So that is Tuesday at 3 p.m. We don't have a regular show tomorrow. We're off tomorrow, but we will be back with Chauncey on Tuesday, Chris.
Yep. Sounds good. So anyway, guys, thanks for coming on with us. People in the chat, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Yes, thanks, Jonathan and TBK. And of course, Joe Dell, as always. So thank you, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you.